Elizabeth Warren hasn't even officially announced that she's running yet for president, but she's already dealing with a revelation that could throw it in jeopardy. This document will show you. The Washington Post is reporting that Elizabeth Warren listed her race on the document as American Indian when registering for the Texas bar back in 1986. This wasn't checking a box, as you see there. This was her handwriting, in her own words, on that form. Just last week, Senator Warren apologized to Cherokee Nation for claiming Native American heritage in the past, and now she's being forced to explain and apologize again. Her spokeswoman saying this: as Senator Warren has said, she is not a citizen of any tribe, and only tribes determine tribal citizenship. She is sorry that she was not more mindful of this earlier in her career. CNN politics reporter and editor-at-large Chris Cillizza is joining me now with much more on this. So, Chris, she's been dealing with this for years.
Yes.
I do wonder why this is coming out now.
So, this happened. The original Is She Native American? She listed herself as, or she was listed as Native American, was in 2012 during her campaign against Scott Brown. It didn't help her campaign, but she won relatively easily, so it didn't disqualify her. The reason it's coming up now is because she knew she wanted to run for president. Donald Trump had called her Pocahontas on the campaign trail, and in October she releases this 5-minute video that's aimed quite clearly, Kate, at saying, here's everything, here's all the records. I did this DNA testing. It suggests that I have Native American heritage or blood back 6 to 10 generations. Okay, problem solved. Let's never talk about this again. But problem not solved, because Cherokee Nation comes out and says, well, blood or DNA testing doesn't determine your heritage. And then we have this, which is this latest report, which goes a little bit further in this one regard. Prior, she had been listed in the Harvard Law School Directory, Penn Law School Directory, and American Association of Law Professors, something like that. These directories as Native American. She essentially said throughout, I didn't really know about that. I didn't advocate for that, and I gained no benefit from it.
Right.
The problem with this isn't some staffer filled it out, or it was a mix-up, or she didn't know about it. This is her writing. They haven't disputed it. Her writing on a form in which she fills it out and writes American Indian in 86, which disputes the whole I never really claimed it as my own ever before. It was sort of a thing that just kind of followed me.
So it's not going to go away. It's not going away. What does this do to her rollout?
So it's really problematic, I think, and not because you don't lose the presidency on this, but here's what's important. When you run for president, a big piece of it, a really big piece of it, is telling your story, right? Like introducing people to, sure, people in Massachusetts know her, a lot of people know her name, but they don't know her story. She was raised in Oklahoma, a lower middle class family. It's a pretty remarkable ascent to where she is now. The problem is when you tell what should be a very compelling story, every story, reporter question, attack from Republicans will say, well, is she Native American? She said she was. And it will mean tweets from Donald Trump, right? So you don't get to tell
why not
that
get
story.
it out? I'm curious to hear if she just didn't remember that she had done this yet again.
Well,
I'm curious as to why, when you're going to roll out, when you're exploring running for president, you need to get everything out there before somebody else does.
The thing that makes me think she did know about it, or at least knew the Washington Post had it, was last week, 5 days ago, there was, they leaked out, essentially, that she had called the head of the Cherokee Nation and apologized. And we were sort of like, okay. I mean, the video came out in October. The hubbub was around that time, Cherokee Nation not happy about the video. So, why now? And then you see this and you think, well, maybe this is why
Another
now.
why now. What other Democratic candidates do about this? Because so far, they have all played very nice, and it's all us against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be,
I think they stay on that because, honestly, when you see someone swirling downward in this way as a candidate, and in particularly a candidate of your own party, why get involved? She's made enough trouble for herself. I don't know that if you're Kamala Harris or any of these people, do you really need to get involved? Do you need to really say, I wonder why Elizabeth Warren isn't telling the full truth? Let her. They will be asked. And the first debate is in June, and that will be an issue. But this speaks to our point, Kate. This is the first thing that's Elizabeth Warren's going to get asked about, and her opponents are going to get asked about. This is why it keeps recycling, until you can take it, put it in a box, say, I've answered all those questions, there's clarity, and the average person believes you're going to keep doing it, and this just makes it harder to do that.
I'm interested to hear if Elizabeth Warren comes out to speak about this. A statement from a spokesperson is one thing, but if she putting herself out there could, I don't know, maybe answer some more questions.
Well, she talked to the Washington Post
yeah.
on Tuesday night and essentially said, I can't go back and change this. Now, the question is, I've always thought she needs to give some sort of big speech that tries to, in a broad way, explain why she thought what she thought, why she did what she did, why it was wrong, and how she's moving on. The problem is, she's not even an announced candidate for president yet. She has an exploratory committee. So you can't really give that speech before you're in the race. And then once you're in the race, when do you do it? This is the
complicated
problem. This is the problem.
This is the definition of complicated. Right. It's great to see you, Chris. Thank you so much.